Hello and welcome to our 2022 Palm Springs Power Season Preview. I'm Nash Walker here with Evan Schmeizer and George Hathaway. We'll be your broadcasters for the 2022 season. A lot of talent coming out here to Palm Springs Stadium this year, guys. And without further ado, let's get into it. George, who's one hitter you're watching this season for the Power?
Honestly, give me Isaiah Alvarez from Point Loma. He batted .345 there with about 3 home runs. He's a local guy too, right down the street here in Palm Desert, California. And he's a transfer from College of the Desert. Everybody loves to see a hometown hero, and that's why I'm rocking with Isaiah Alvarez this summer for the Palm Springs Power.
Isaiah Alvarez, high on base guy, could be a leadoff hitter here for the Power. Evan, who's someone you're looking at in the lineup?
Well, before I get to my guy, let me just say about Isaiah. He's been around the block. He's one of the older guys. I look forward to seeing how his leadership abilities will impact this locker room. Now, as far as my guy is concerned, I really want to see Sebastian Flores. This is a young guy we're talking about. He just finished his COVID freshman season. He's been around a couple years. He just finished his season at Riverside City College. He was their starting shortstop, hit above 300. Very low strikeout guy, drew a lot of walks. I hope to see him work a lot of deep counts against this higher level pitching. He also led Riverside City College to its first community college state championship appearance since 2008. And just this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, they won it all for the first time since 2007. And he had a big 2-run double in that game to key that 2-run victory. I really want to see this guy hit the ball to all fields. I mean, it's hot out here. It's dry, boys. This infield is going to be very, very fast. And with how deep it is down the lines, it's 350 down the left and right field lines. Singles are going to turn to doubles. And if he can move, doubles are going to turn into triples. So I think this guy has a lot of potential against higher level pitching.
I'm going to stay up the middle with a catcher, Michael Carpenter. He's the son of a big leaguer, played at Cal Baptist University. 369, 385 on base, slugged .510 in 50 games for Cal Baptist. He walks a lot. He doesn't strike out much. He's a good catcher. I think this team is going to be really good up the middle.
Oh, for sure. As far as Carpenter is concerned, I really want to see how he handles this pitching staff. He's going to have to get to know a lot of pitchers in a very short amount of time. I mean, opening night it's Friday night. And I think there's a whole lot of potential. He's an older guy, so I think he has a decent idea of what he's doing behind the plate. We wouldn't be bringing him in if he didn't have an idea.
So we're sure that this lineup is going to hit, at least at the top.
Oh, yeah.
On the mound, who's a pitcher you're watching for this year, George?
Give me Dom Mota. Cal State San Bernardino, 7.78 ERA, 17 strikeouts, and allowed 26 runs on the season for him. And he played Power previously as well, so very familiar with this organization. And also his brother, it runs in the blood, as he has the most home runs in a single season in Power history. So, I mean, these Mota brothers, they know how to play some baseball here in Palm Springs, and that's why I'm rocking with Dom.
Evan, I know you like a guy who's played in the Palm Desert. Who are you looking at?
Absolutely. I'm talking about, as of now, he's a local guy, but he's also well-traveled. I'm talking about Kenny Schechter. He's a rising sophomore. He actually hailed from the East Coast, Georgia's neck of the woods in Massachusetts. He probably talks a little differently than I do, coming from Jersey and New York, but I think we can deal with that perfectly okay. He had an under 4 ERA this past season. Opposition only hit .245 against him, especially in a climate like this. It's good hitting weather. I'm very intrigued to see how he does against some Division II and even Division I kind of talent. High sample size as far as his innings are concerned. He went 43 innings, over a strikeout per inning. I'm a little bit concerned about how many guys he's hit this past season. 13 hit batters to go along with 15 walks. So it tells me a couple things. It tells me that he's more than happy to pitch inside, especially during summer ball. They're all trying to get better. That's what I want to see. But at the same time, against this higher level competition, if you're putting guys on base, if you're falling behind in the count, then they're going to make you pay, and they're going to start to hit you really hard. And that ERA is going to balloon way up there. So I'm very curious to see how Kenny can transfer his talent over to the Division I, Division II kind of competition.
I'm staying with a fellow Minnesotan in my pick, Evan Shaw, the 5th-ranked lefty in the state of Minnesota. Struck out 70 over 50 and a third last year. 2022, very good season for Shaw on the mound. Feels like the Power will pitch well.
Baseball's pretty good up there in Minnesota.
Not bad. It's not bad, Evan. I'm taking Evan Shaw. There are many promotion nights. The Power, they're going to be a good club, so that's why you should come up. But also, these promotion nights are going to be a blast. George, what's the night you circled on the calendar?
Micromania Wrestling. I kid you not. Put it on your calendars. June 25th. It's going to be amazing. On home plate, they're going to set up a ring. Professional wrestlers are going to go at it. There's some great entertainment value. And hopefully Schmeizer doesn't get in the mix as well, because I don't know if he could even handle that. But there's also Wine Wednesdays here at the Palm Springs Stadium every Wednesday. Quality wine on draft, fellas. I don't know if you guys are wine guys, but it's at a discounted price of $4 every Wednesday night. So you can't beat that at all.
Saturday, July 9th is Veterans Night. Always a special day here at the ballpark to honor our veterans. I'm looking forward to that night. Evan, what's a promotion night you've targeted?
Well, first things first, just want to say about the wrestlers. I really hope I don't end up in that ring. Those guys will absolutely destroy me if that were to ever happen. I'm a runner, guys. There's good reason why I run. I'm not as good with those contact sports, those contact competitions. Now, as far as the nights that I'm looking forward to the most, we've got Independence Night, July 4th. We're gonna have fireworks after the game. It's gonna be a beautiful occasion. It's gonna remind me a lot of back home on the East Coast, seeing fireworks over the ocean. We have these beautiful canyons, mountains in our backdrop. They still look CGI to me, gentlemen, even though I've gone up close and seen what they're all about. They're unreal out here. And as far as a recurring theme is concerned, I'm really going to enjoy Saturday nights. Another thing that's going to remind me a lot of back home. I come from a family resort back on the East Coast in Jersey. I'm really going to love seeing all the young families come out here. Kids 12 and under will get in for free Saturday nights. I really look forward to seeing Grandma and Grandpa with the grandkids, getting the hot dogs, eating all the favorite desserts with the grandkids, and even seeing those kids interact with the players. It's something really special about the Palm Springs Power and summer collegiate baseball in general. Just that interpersonal kind of atmosphere. While you still have intense baseball, it's a much more laid-back culture that can help give the players a chance to serve as role models for all these young people coming in.
Some very exciting promotion nights ahead, very exciting players in this league. The Power have graduated some great players into the majors. Tyler Wells, now in the Baltimore Orioles rotation, was a Twins pitcher for a while, now with Baltimore. Mid-90s fastball, hard slider, pitched right here at Palm Springs Stadium. And another guy, Brian Servant, hit 2 home runs in his second game for the Colorado Rockies, played for the Power, George.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Severin, he even made some MLB history as well that night. Was the first player with his first 2 hits being multi-run home runs. I mean, Power making history in the big leagues, and that's something you love to see here. They build and prosper here in Palm Springs.
Tyler Matzik pitched in the Winter League. He won the World Series with the Atlanta Braves, of course, last October. Evan, there's a lot of talent here and potentially big league talent.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's something really beautiful about summer collegiate baseball, and something that I've been really happy with seeing with the Palm Springs Power so far, is that they're really, really focused on cultivating that young future talent. We've got guys here, like you guys have both said, trying to get into the big leagues, trying to make their way through the independent league system, get signed into a minor league program. And our guys right now can use these current players as inspiration. You know, these are journeymen we're talking about. They've been all over the place playing baseball all throughout the year. They've had to do the little things right, really putting a lot of that extra time, extra mileage that you might not always see from a first round pick or even a second round pick. So I'm really curious to see which of these guys stand out, which of these guys take the bull by the horns, and especially try to soak up all the knowledge that our coaching staff and these previous players have to offer.
Baseball, runs scored minus runs allowed. The Power have done that very, very well here. But what's one factor you're looking at, George, that maybe people are looking beyond, a factor that could separate the Power from being good and great this summer?
Yeah, I think really utilizing the home field advantage. They're going to be playing here a lot throughout the summer, and we have a very large outfield, I think, for a summer collegiate league. And, you know, utilizing that to their benefit will help them out. I mean, you hit a deep ball off the wall, and you can really run around these bases. I mean, you could see a triple, maybe even an inside the park home run you'll have to hear us on the call for that if that happens. But I mean, these guys are going to utilize home field advantage. Dry weather here. I mean, I've never experienced any of this before, but this is some really nice baseball weather, especially at night. It's going to get a little cool as well. So I think that you can utilize that. They can win it all.
Alvarez and Carpenter, they get on base a whole lot. A lot of guys in this lineup are going to get on base a whole lot. Hitting with runners in scoring position, always a key for any good team. I think especially important for the Power this year. Evan, what are you looking at as a key factor?
Well, I really want to see the progression of a lot of these players, starting from opening night and going all the way through July 16th, our final game of the season. Not only do I want to see how much these guys improve, I want to see who maybe starts off fast and remains consistent throughout the entire season. And I really want to see which players stand out as far as who's talking to the coaches the most. These coaches really know what they're talking about. Some of them have worked in big league systems, but as far as scouting is concerned, a lot of these guys are coming from all over the country. We have some East Coast people, we have some Midwestern guys, some local people, of course, over at the West Coast. I want to see how they all gel. I really want to see how they interact on the field, in the dugout, in the clubhouse. I really look forward to seeing how much they're coming in as individuals. I want to see how much they mold as a team throughout the entire season, especially in those much more competitive, closer games with our rivals.
And that's the goal here, getting better at Palm Springs Stadium for the Palm Springs Power. Opening night, June 3rd, Orange County Legends going to take on your Power. We can't wait to see you at the stadium this summer. Of course, a vital contributor to a team's success, the manager. And look who's here. Casey Dill is the manager of the Power. We're going to make room for Casey here. Very exciting.
Happen to have my chair with me. Glad to join you.
Casey, thank you so much for coming out today. Power season, 2 days away. What are you focused on as the team's manager? We talked about hitting with runners in scoring position, strong on the bases, good defense. What's the key that you really hone in on with these guys?
Well, it's going to be the first time I get to meet a lot of these guys. We get one practice day before we start playing games. So for me as a manager, it's being as prepared as possible in knowing who these guys are before they get here. Because we hit the ground running, and we go out every night expecting to win. And so I do extensive research, study videos, study data measurables, and try to just do my homework on who our power players are before they get here.
We've talked about some of the hitters, Michael Carpenter, Isaiah Alvarez. Seems like this is going to be a really good lineup. What do you think the strength is of this team going into the year?
Consistency and depth. The lineup is very deep. We have 5 guys. We'll have 5 guys on our bench every night that are just as capable of doing what the 9 guys in the starting lineup are. And everybody 1 through 9 can play. There's not an easy out in our lineup. Everybody plays their position on defense very strongly, and we've got guys ready to come in behind them. So we have no weak points. To have a chance to beat us this year, you have to make no mistakes, and you have to play perfect baseball to even have a chance.
And on the mound, what are you expecting from the pitching staff?
Probably one of the best pitching staffs I've had in my 7 years here. An older pitching staff, very experienced, has already had success at the collegiate level. I expect this year for our pitchers to be one of the best years in moving guys onto the professional level. I think you'll see a lot of guys this summer that will pitch in games for the Power and will get signed to a professional contract as a result. I think more so than any of the other previous years even.
We've talked about some of those guys. Tyler Wells now in the Orioles rotation. Brian Servant had an outstanding debut. What is it that separates those guys from the other players when you watch them?
Well, I think what we've done is we've created a destination for professional prospects to come and play. I honestly believe that there's not a better summer program in the country that helps guys, that leads to guys signing and being drafted professionally. So we get guys that are that good because they come here knowing we're going to have scouts at the game. We have Flight Scope. We have all the information that major league clubs need. We already have the network. Because we've had so many guys get drafted and signed, our network is extensive. If I have a player that comes here and I think that, hey, like you guys, like the Yankees, you need to come check them out. Our network, it's as easy as a text message, and we get a scout here. So there's not other than creating the destination and the reputation for being a team that builds professional players and putting the effort in behind the scenes to make sure they get the proper exposure. We get players of that caliber because of those reasons.
As you watch throughout this summer, how much progression do you see from these guys just from playing every day, playing out here in Palm Springs, surrounded by other good players?
Well, every player is different, but I think what you will see is players adapt to the environment. I believe in this being a professional style baseball team. And there's not a lot of micromanaging players, calling bunts, calling pitches. There's not a lot of that at the professional level. I want these guys to have the freedom to think for themselves, to go out and play for themselves. If we need to make adjustments, then we'll talk about adjustments at that point. But them learning that, because a lot of times in college, the coach will tell you when to swing. They'll tell you what pitch they think is coming. They will call every pitch from the dugout, so the catcher has to call what the coach is. I don't do any of that. I want them to have the freedom to learn that stuff on their own. So when they get to the professional level, they're rookies, but they're already veterans up here. They've already played a season where they've had the freedom to be themselves. I don't restrict anybody. I say go play, be the best version of yourself, and we will make adjustments off of that from there, from where you are now, from what the adjustments need to be made for you to play at the professional level.
We'll finish with this, Casey. What do you think is the biggest difference fans are going to see from last year's Powers team to this year's Powers team?
I mean, every power team that I've managed since I've been here has been extremely good. And so this year's going to be no different. I'm not going to say that we're going to be better or worse. I'm saying when I look at the roster, I go, this is another very good power roster. I think we have more depth at pitching, which in this kind of league and in any kind of level of summer baseball in general, if you have depth in pitching, you're going to have the upper hand. If your third guy coming out of the bullpen is a similar pitcher to your 1 and 2 starter, they're going to eat up innings, they're going to get outs, and we're going to win baseball games. So our pitching staff is so deep with not only professional prospects that we talked about earlier, but just quality college guys that are going back to their college next year. So biggest difference I would say is I think that this is going to be one of the best power pitching staffs since I've been here, not only in terms of success on the field, but also guys getting signed to play professionally as well.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Casey Dill, manager of the Palm Springs Power. Very, very excited. Casey, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.